welcome to your weekly dose of fun, laughter, banter, and definitely a whole lot of realness. This is the Vineyard. Shangwa na vigele gele, makofi. Guys, are you excited?
So excited.
This is like the maiden shoot of podcast here at CCO. And we have been praying and preparing. And finally, the day is here.
Yeah.
And we are chaka chaka.
Just
Just doing it.
Just starting it, you know?
Yeah.
Just doing it.
Yeah.
I am Hope Nyokabi, the small girl with a big voice.
My name is Sonia Thuita.
My name is Kings, but Kenya has identified me as Timothy Kingor.
Yes.
And this is the Vineyard. Guys, this is like the first shoot.
Literally.
And it's
quite
the first
literally.
episode.
Mm.
So I think it's very important that we allow our audience
Yeah.
to understand what we are when we call ourselves the Vineyard.
Yeah.
It's not like some club somewhere where you go and hear the Vineyard. In fact, I'm being made to understand there's a club
There
somewhere
is.
called the Vineyard.
What are these clubs
But
you're talking about?
We are a club, but not that type of club, you know? We're like the G's, you know? So the Vineyard, and I think this is drawn from the laborers are few and the harvest is plentiful.
Plenty. Yeah.
When the world is choosing to be loud about evil, we're choosing to be loud about the truth.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Vineyard. If it sounds like something you
Period.
definitely want to be a part of, if you've never heard of it, you probably want to peruse your Bible. If you know of it, you want to come along with us on this journey. So welcome and ride along with us and just enjoy
Awesome.
because we are just starting.
Just doing it.
Chaka chaka.
Period.
In the spirit of starting, Kings, what's the thing that you've wanted to start but have found it very hard to start doing?
Me, don't find things hard.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
But I think currently the hardest thing that I'm finding hard to start is I'm trying to venture into my own business, and it's becoming a challenge simply because one, perfectionism is the thief of all dreams, whereby you want everything
Joy.
to be pitch perfect before it starts, and two, the bug starts and ends with me. So there's no mwalimu hakunifundisha this, there's no I didn't get support from so and so. It's all on me. So I think that's the one thing I'm finding hard to start currently.
And I like that you say that because I was listening to somebody and they were saying recently that when you reach a certain point, you stop saying my background. You
Very
become the
true.
background.
It's you.
Yeah.
It is you who's the background.
Exactly.
So in all honesty, you'd better just wake up and start.
Yeah.
Son, what have you found the hardest to start?
What? Me now, unlike Kingori, me, I actually find things so difficult to
I can be your mentor.
man.
Mhm.
And I feel like for me, just in addition to what you've said, because I agree with what you've said, I feel like the weight of people's perception sometimes can make it so difficult to start. I've really wanted for some time, and I know I've not even shared this with you, and you two are like some of my closest friends. I've always wanted to start a plus size fashion business.
Oh my God!
That's nice.
Yeah, I've always wanted. Like I love when I see especially girls, bigger girls, like embracing themselves
And you're always
dressing-
so
and
stylish.
dressing beautifully, but you know that fear of guy when I start watu watafikiria daktari anauza nguo kwani kumeumania wapi, you know. And just I feel like I've started on that dream for I feel like it's been like 3 years. I've thought about it, but I'm just like, it's always like, what will people say? You get what I mean? Or you you launch your
Wow.
Instagram page and you'll have you and your 15 followers. So
And
I
it's
feel
okay.
like
They're the ones you're starting with, man. Just start.
it's just the thing. I think the inception, bringing something off the ground is a difficult part.
Mhm.
But once you, and I'm saying that and I've not started, but I feel like this is what I'm going to use to hold myself accountable. Once you actually get something off the ground, I think from the people that we hear, every time you consult, you hear people saying, just start, just begin. Here we are just beginning, literally.
Chaka.
Did we see this happen?
We never saw this happening. And here it is.
And I know from now, it's just going to get easier and easier and easier. As
It's
it gets,
definitely.
yeah.
The only way you can be able to know if something works is when you start.
Yeah.
Then you know how it works, what doesn't work for
Exactly.
it. And so really, in all honesty, me, I'm expecting that there'll be a page up next week and there are photos of you and goes over there. Because by the way,
Period.
we've got to hold each other accountable.
Very
and I think
true.
that's why a lot of people are not able to start something. What sets you apart?
Yeah.
Everybody's a dreamer. But what sets you apart and sets people who are successful apart from every other dreamer
Yeah.
is the fact that they just started
Yeah.
and they figured things out along the way. Now me, not taking my own medicine, For years, I've been saying I should start my podcast. I should start my podcast. This guy's know it. I think one time Sonia was even preaching and she used me as an example in church.
Yep.
And she said, yeah, I know some people here who always wanted to start their podcast and they never start.
And have you thought about the irony that this is a podcast we are doing and what you've always wanted to start?
And it's like now the Lord was tired and he's like, okay, it seems like this one is not starting.
It's enough.
Just give her something so that she can go and run with it. But then again, I'm still feeling as though this wasn't something that, my baby that I crafted from the very inception, the very beginning. Yeah. So probably, Bado, I am halfway through obedience, which is not complete obedience. I need
God
to actually
has nudged
start
you for you to do what he's
me
actually calling you to do.
I like that, halfway through obedience, but not obedient.
It is, Oh
When
my
are you
gosh,
preaching?
wisdom too, yani. Wisdom
deep.
just flowing. One of my lecturers just used to tell us that he's the oracle and wisdom flows both ways, from him to us and us to him.
Wow.
So he's learning from us as well learning from him.
Mtatumaliza.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, learning friends at the moment.
Yeah, learning.
But I think it's very important that when you want to start something, just start. And I think one time we were having a call and I told you I'm just from drafting my first episode. So it's written down somewhere, but it's yet to be heard to the world, And I remember you were so excited and you said, when you do that, leave the launch to me. I will be the one to do the launch. You just start
me
it.
and the dramatics.
So I also see Sonia Kando.
See me.
Please see her. She with the flair and the fanfare and all of that, she will definitely start that.
Yeah.
And I just want us to probably just do a little bit more introspection on maybe sometimes we talk about external factors being the reason as to why we don't start. But could there innately be a certain fear that is setting us back from starting? Something that is holding us back from starting. I'd say for me, for instance, is that one of the reasons I'm scared of starting my own podcast is because I'm thinking, right now, the world, everybody's starting a podcast.
Yeah.
Everybody is saying something. So what sets me apart with what I'm about to say?
Yeah.
Whilst I know that maybe I'm about to say something else that has never been heard in my voice. Maybe somebody has said it, but it's not been heard in my voice, and my voice is important. I should say it in my voice. I still just ask myself, what would still set me apart with starting? And that has held me back so many times because I'm always asking. And then I go and say, for what? What will people be drawing from my podcast? What would people be learning? And that has really, really been one of the major setbacks in terms of my journey to start my podcast.
I think speaking about setbacks, I'm laughing because, when you think about just doing it and just starting something else, I think that also feeds into what you're saying. Shame. I there's a lecturer of us also, and also one of my, he's a senior, he's just graduated. He keeps telling us, you can't shame the unashamed. Shame is a social construct. You choose to feel shame, by the way. And when you think about it in terms of starting something, the fear of failure or the fear of maybe like you for your podcast, Hope, I'll use that example, that maybe you feel like there's nothing that's going to be unique.
You're asking for a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then let's call her Clouds.
Yeah, let's call her Clouds.
Yeah, let's call her Clouds.
Clouds. Yeah. You feel like maybe, and especially this content space which may feel a bit saturated. And the funny thing is you've presented the problem and presented the solution as well, because your voice is unique. You get? And
thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta gas you up.
Isn't mine unique?
Sorry,
okay. Crickets.
No, even yours.
Hata sijasikia vibaya.
Unataka kuanza podcast. Wait. Yeah. So I was just saying, in addition to what you were saying, shame, we should really just get to the point where, like I was saying, shame is a social
construct.
Mm-hmm. Just choose not to feel it. Like I feel like even when I send out my CV, because I'm now in the job hunt, and the job hunt is
and you have even neglected to mention when you are having a difficult time starting to draft your CV.
No. It's you can choose to feel shame, and that will of course hold you back from doing so many things. But me, I think I've just got to the point where it's just like shame doesn't exist. Embarrassment it doesn't exist in my world.
Mm-hmm.
So you go forth and you approach opportunities in a way that you are not what's the word? Like it's not, the shame is not holding you back. You get what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when we think about just doing it, just beginning, whatever it is. Kwanza Kingori, this is a chance for you to shameless plug your business.
Yes. So the name of the business is called Transformation, which is simply a team building facilitation where we offer a king's experience. But in the meantime, feel free to reach out to me. So for my brainchild, the reason why I've struggled with it for quite a bit is because of the inadequacies, whereby you look at people who've gone ahead of you in the industry and you feel like you're not yet there. So you want it to look just like that, but I'm starting. So at times it becomes an impossible task because I'm trying to start at 100. Even a car doesn't start at 100.
Literally.
Hata ukidrive unazanga 1, 2, 3, 4. So the upscaling for me is what I'm trying to figure out. How my gear 1 will look like. Vis-a-vis the gear 5. Because I want to be at the gear 5, but I'm just starting. And not downplaying my own excellence and my own input into this brainchild of mine.
And I like that you say that, because I find that the bully within is in fact the most aggressive of bullies. Because most of the times the bully within is usually coming from a very deep-seated insecurity that we have, and we've bought into that idea. In fact, it reminds me of a time where I was having a chat. I was struggling seriously with reaching out to my networks and just wanting assistance in terms of looking for advice because of launching my career and where I want to be at. And I find it very difficult. I think we were laughing about it the other day when I say networking. I find it so difficult to go start with someone. Hi, how are you? My name is Hope. I do this. What do you do? It's so difficult. And so she asked me a question. She was like, Hope, why are you rejecting yourself when God has not yet rejected you?
Period.
Because you refuse to put yourself out there, because you're already discounting and discrediting what you have to offer. Yet God has not rejected you. And I think since then, I have looked at reaching out to people way differently. And I am proud of saying that so far I've reached out to like 3 people. I've sent messages and emails. And it's wonderful to realize that, in fact, people who've already charted the path and gone ahead of you are so willing to let you learn from them. And I think we usually just look at them on a pedestal and we are like, I mean, will they even have time for me? But most of the time they actually want to take you through the process. And we find it and we struggle because we want to start at gear 100 because I think sometimes we think that maybe the world is not so lenient on us who are just starters because they've already seen perfection. So what excuse are you coming to start telling us that, oh, I'm just starting, please have mercy on me, give me time.
The whole 5 years experience thing. Every job wants 5 years experience.
And that's what is stopping a lot of us from starting, because, okay, you want 5 years experience. So you mean to say I started working in my previous life?
Graduates.
Like when I just hit the ground running from when I just popped out of my mama's womb. It sometimes is very, very discouraging. But I think I learned to just hold on to that, not rejecting myself because God has not rejected me. And just realizing that people who've gone ahead of us are really ready and willing to give us nuggets of wisdom of what they have learned and picked along the journey.
I think even before you reach the point of self-actualization, you really can't afford to just not be shameless. You can't afford it. How now? You see the way sometimes... No, as in, shoot your business shot. Shoot your friendship. How many times have we talked?
For real.
We are literally at the beginning. And it's fun enough when we are at this age is when we are so... I don't know, you feel like what you're talking about, you're afraid to even reach out to your networks. You feel like, and we've just said this, literally people who have achieved are the ones who are so willing. But because, I don't know, you literally just cannot afford to not be shameless. Like walk, knock, we have rafiki baba yako, anybody. Unasimamisha tu mtu, by the way.
True.
You are searching.
I think also the fear of rejection, whereby you're not too sure about will they buy into
that's what I'm saying. We can't afford to even have that fear.
Or maybe even if you have it, by the way, just shake it off.
Imagine.
Shake it off. And just do it.
Yeah.
You have got to.
Move as you move.
You can't afford to be, to just, to
allow that rejection without putting it on the table.
Exactly.
Okay,
and I think it's very crippling because 3/4 of the time you find that, say for instance, I think I've even learned this with my series. Every single time I'm watching a series, and then I've reached a point where I'm thinking, oh my God, it's going to turn out bad. I ghost the series for a while. For real, I usually just ghost it because I'm like, apana, I cannot afford to have it. But then when I start the episode, I go through it after some time after I've come back. I'm like, so it wasn't even going to turn out as bad as I had thought. 3/4 of the time, we're always thinking before we start, we're always thinking of the worst possible scenarios. You know, Murphy's Law. whatever will go wrong
Will go wrong.
But what if it actually just turns out right?
Yeah.
We never actually look at the possibility of it might actually pan out
And
right.
literally, what's the worst that could happen? Will you die? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
3/4 of the time, you will probably just be going back to where you are, the position where you are at. before
Yeah.
you
And you
started.
get to learn from those mistakes, and you get to actually
Yeah.
improve.
And a no
Because you
cannot kill you. That fear of rejection is tied to you're so scared of being told no. Imagine what's going to happen.
Wonderful. Dear brothers, are you picking this up? Are you picking that? When you are told you will not die,
Imagine.
take it from the ones that say
You
no.
won't evaporate.
You will not die.
There's something I like saying, you don't know what you don't know
Yeah.
until you know it. So go ahead
Yeah.
and do it. And I like what you said about the networks. Starting that conversation is really very hard because, at least for me, it's now coming to life.
Yeah.
There's no going back once you start telling someone, I'm a team builder and I do facilitation.
Yeah.
So the next time you meet, you're so sure they'll ask you, oh, so how is it coming along?
Exactly.
Do you have a logo?
Yeah.
Do you have a website that is running? So I think that the conversation bits, and our parents
So
have mastered that.
Yeah.
They have.
And they shamelessly say it.
Yeah.
You've never seen. I think there's one thing I admire about politicians, and it's their shamelessness of whatever. Even if they're at a funeral, they will still come and sell their agendas there because they've learned the art of. By the way, you just need to get the message known out there.
Who's the Sarah?
They're not even as educated as they're not fluent. They're struggling. Somebody is there, can't even speak English.
But the person has built so much innate confidence to just start it, and it will pan out however it will, and you will learn and you will charter the path as you go.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that we need to let go of as young people is wanting to have everything figured out before.
Wow.
we start
You
before
can't.
you do it.
That is why there are seasons of life. There are seasons where you're learning.
Yeah.
There are seasons where you've mastered the art, and there are seasons where you're moving on to another season.
Yeah.
You need to know that there'll be
Yeah.
probably downtimes. And I find that you want to have known all the possible scenarios of what would have happened. You want, when we're told start with the end in mind, you for real, the end. If it's not that end, you are
That's
dead.
it.
That's it. You're not even going to start. I think it's important. We are young, and I thank the Lord so much that because we are young, we are yet to start our own families.
Yeah.
We can afford to
We have-
take.
There's nothing.
We have room for mistakes.
You know?
You have buffer air. Yeah.
This is the time. If I start a
Yeah.
business and then it drinks water, it's fine.
Yeah.
You start another one.
I can start another one.
I can go today and do a facilitation in another county and move on the next day.
You
There's
know?
nothing tying me down.
There's
Yeah.
nothing that is tying you down right now. So really, it's important to first of all see the assets and the blessings that you have instead of
Yeah.
focusing on what you do not have. Because focusing on what we do not yet have, on what we are yet to get to, is what stops us from being there. But as of now, what are the 5 fish and 2 loaves in my hand?
Wow, I like
That's
it.
what I'm going to start working with.
Yeah.
And because I've got a brain, I'm going to start writing my episodes before I get that wonderful phone that can record
That
episodes.
we've been praying and
That
trusting
you've been
God for.
trusting the Lord. Hallelujah. It's gonna come, by the way. I believe it.
It's coming. It's coming. It's
It's gonna
coming.
come.
Yeah.
Final words for somebody who wants to start something but are yet to, and they're finding it difficult.
I'll echo the words she once said. Don't live a timid life. It does an injustice to you. Have the courage and the boldness to do it. It's not a sin, but it's a disservice to the purposes that have been set out for you. So go forth in that courage. I'm also speaking to myself. You guys are looking at me like, is this you talking?
Wow.
But yes, have the courage to actually go forth and chase after
Yeah.
what it is that is in your heart.
Yeah.
Because the same way your thumb is only for you, there's something that you do. In as much as there are very many people,
Yeah.
there's a taste to live with people that goes.
Yeah.
So just
Awesome.
Jaka, my friend. Come on.
Just start. I love
Yeah.
it. Period.
Yes. I think for me, my final words would be there's a place of prayer and there's a place of action. You remember we said that when you're thinking about just starting something, and many of us as Christians, you know the story of you've wanted to start a business, it's always, I'm praying about it. Lord, speak to me in the name of Jesus. And he has given you
5 years.
everything that
We're
you
asking
need.
you're still
Yeah.
praying.
5 years, podcaster, Madam Podcaster.
I'm in the
Hallelujah.
5
wilderness.
years. Yeah. So there's the place of prayer and there's the place of you picking up, looking at what has God given me in my hands to start. Just start. And I remember, I think there was someone I was listening to a while back, I think by Bishop Oginde, and he was saying, God helps you to figure out as you're moving, as you're making steps. You step out in faith, and he clears a path, and he helps you be able to the grass, the shrubs, they are cleared off from the way, and you're able to see with clarity where it is he's taking you, but he can't show you. God gives you enough light for the next step.
Wow.
So you start, once you start, God provides enough light for the next step. And just like that, we're able to press towards the mark of whatever God is calling us to do. So,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Pressing towards the mark of the higher calling.
Yeah.
Once you know what your God can do.
Yeah.
I think the final words I have for anybody who wants to start something is that Goliath is only as big as your imagination.
Yeah.
But once you just sling that stone and hit his head, you ask yourself, okay, so what's the next obstacle?
Yeah.
You will realize it's as simple as that. It's usually just the hardest to start.
Yeah.
But once you make the first step, you can only move forward. Forward ever, backward never.
Backward never.
Is it shooting that shot? Please, go shoot it, Buana.
Even the business shot
If
doesn't
it's
have
the
to
business,
be.
if it's the friendship, you admire this person,
Yeah.
you want this mentor, just
Shoot your shot.
start.
Yeah.
Go shoot your shot. And then take it from there. If if it doesn't go through, well, you've just learned lessons of how not to shoot your shot. So you can learn and go back to the drawing board and shoot it better.
Yeah.
Till next time, this is the Vineyard.